Okay, hi guys, and welcome back to episode 8 of Job and the Librarians. And today we're going to be talking about The Girl in 6E by, how do you say her last name? Is A.R. Torre? Torre. Hi guys.
Torre, I think.
So 8 of Job and the Librarians.
Sorry.
Okay.
That's okay. It's going to do the same thing when I open it up to try to to send out the link.
Okay, well, my name is Ericka. I'm a young adult librarian, and I also have a book blog called Highway-YA.
And I am Julie. I run the booktube channel Pages and Pens. That's what I do.
Oh, Lauren, we can't hear you.
Lauren has no sound. All right, I got our chat room open. I'm going to share the links.
Okay. Well, while Lauren is getting her sound together, I'm just going to give you all a brief rundown of the book. So, The Girl in 6E is about a girl named Jessica, aka Jessica. She is a recluse. She's been living as a recluse for 3 years, and she makes a living as a cam girl. And she has this sick obsession of killing people, which is why she recluses herself, why she stays to herself. Well, at one point, she find out this girl is missing, and she takes upon herself to go out and try to rescue this girl. So that's basically the gist of the story. It's a whole lot more.
You were like, Jessica, aka Jessica. I'm like, her name is Deanna.
Yeah.
But it's okay, we know. I see you guys in the chat room.
So what did you think about it?
Hey, are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm back. Okay, awesome. So I will do my quick introduction. Sorry for the delay. I am Lauren. I am a reference librarian, and I run an LGBT book club.
Yay.
Okay. So what did you all think of it?
I'm going to let you guys go first because I know you guys have similar thoughts.
I was kind of concerned about it when I started reading, but that was in part because I looked up the author before I started reading, and she had written something like 15 books in the course of 3 years. And I read that, I'm like, holy shit, like, what kind of books are these? Are these even going to be, like, good? Because, like, I did out the math, and it's roughly, like, 5 books a year.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And I'm like, what kind of quality is this? Like, I'm like, are you even, like, proofreading at this point? Is stuff spelled correct? Like,
she had some writing stored away that she like bulk published, I'm sure.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I also think that in her, there was like a little interview or like a little Q&A at the end, and it says that her main writing prior to this is just straight erotica. So I think this is like her first thriller series, and then the rest is just erotica, which is like, not that it's not easy, like not that it's not hard to write, but it's not rocket science. You know, like you can write pretty decent erotica pretty quickly. So I can see how she put out a lot more books. But if they were all like this, then I'd be like, eh.
Yeah, but I wasn't like super knowledgeable about her beforehand or like what her writing was. And so just based on those numbers, I'm like, oh, good God. Like, so the book at least was better than I expected it to be. But
that's good.
Yeah, well, I was torn because I wanted to give it 3.5 and I wanted to give it 4. And it was good. It was different, but it was good. I liked the build up to the climax of the story. I felt like at times I did feel like it was kind of slow at a moment, but I kind of understood because she separated herself from society, so she kind of had to get herself back acclimated with everything else. I can kind of understand that part.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, but it was a really quick read and whatnot. I guess I would say just the writing, it was really good. So that's probably why I just went ahead and I think I gave it 3.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like I said, it was. I will continue on with the series though. It was pretty good.
I went ahead and gave it a full-blown 5-star.
I saw.
I was like, I don't even care. And I think a couple things did that for me. One, I loved the character study. Like as a person with a degree in psychology, I am obsessed with abnormal psychology and just any kind of, non-normative ways of thinking. And Deanna intrigued the heck out of me. I was so enthralled with getting into her head and being able to see through her eyes and see the way that she was trading services for therapy and the way that she was trying to help herself and work through her issues and self-medicate herself away from murder. I flippin' loved it. And I could really appreciate the way that the author had clearly done a ton of research, which she does talk about at the end of the book in the Q&A. Did a ton of research on the cam girl industry and how that works. You could tell it wasn't just thrown together, and it wasn't erotica or smutty or overtly sexy for no reason either. I felt like it all played into her career and a viable career choice for her condition, which I loved. And then I was also obsessed with Deanna's morality. For a murderess, she had morals still.
Mm-hmm.
And I
She was
loved
a wee bit like
her.
Dexter in that way.
Yeah, but I couldn't stand it, the way that she protected her clients' anonymity and didn't judge them, and just the way that her mind worked was fascinating to me. And I thought from a psychology standpoint it was really well written and it was a great study. So yeah, I was I can't give this anything less than 5 stars. I loved it.
Well, see, and for me, I loved the internalness, and I loved the somewhat just her thought process. When she's talking to the one therapist, and he's like, "Don't order Chinese food because you'll probably kill the guy." I really want Chinese food. Don't order Chinese food. And just
she already knew she was going to order it before she called it.
Yeah, just
It was
this
pointless anyway.
I need to call him to make this okay.
Yeah.
I love those kind of moments, but then you flip it and when the UPS guy breaks his way into the apartment to make sure she's okay, and all of a sudden they're this close to having sex, and I'm like, really? You're somebody who does not leave your home because you're afraid you're gonna kill somebody, but the first person that literally breaks into your house, you're like, yeah, let's have sex.
Yeah, no, I get that. I totally got that though, because she for her, murder is almost an erotic thing. Her body's response to being able to potentially kill him gets she already said earlier that her body gets physically excited at the thought of murder. And then she already had said as well that her body was so hypersexualized from her career and her work that it blurred lines, and she had problems with that anyway. Mm-hmm. And she showed that with her therapist too, starting to flirt with him when she knew she shouldn't, because she just couldn't turn off that switch. So for me, that makes complete sense. That physical reaction to blood and cutting him and being able to finally have somebody and a justified reason for attack and giving into that fantasy, combined with being naked and just having been in the middle of a cam session, I totally get that. That made sense to me.
I can get all that, but at the same time, it was, moments like that just kind of took me out of it. So I was like, it's this weird mix of being in the moment and then instantly, and loving what she's doing and saying and how the writing is, but then instantly being taken out by something like that. But I'm like, you know what? If I can't stay in it for those moments and buy into the idea, I couldn't give it higher than the 3.
Yeah, it's kind of just a borderline. I guess it's just what it interests you, and you take away different things when you're reading a story anyway.
Yeah, of course. I think I legitimately tabbed when he broke in, and I was like, she found the perfect guy. He's twisted. He was like, I'm gonna choke her and see what happens.
Oh yeah, she told
like,
I'm pretty sure he's perfect for her.
I was like, oh my god, they're amazing. I was like, I've never been happier. It works.
And he had been trying for so long to just catch a glimpse of her, just to see who she is. And he took the opportunity. He saw the opportunity and he took it.
He broke down that door, quite literally.
Yeah. I thought it was cute, especially like at the end, you know, when they're like all cuddly and lovey, and she was like, you should leave now.
Yeah.
Like went from being fine to like, you should run. Like maybe run.
And then I thought it was weird that he had never made contact with her outside of him delivering her deliveries and everything. And when she asked him for his truck and he basically just handed it over, I'm like, you don't even know this chick. You handed over your truck.
I mean, it was kind of like that, where he's just like, yeah, okay, here are the keys. Have fun. And it's like, no, this is not how the UPS is run at all. Just, no.
Well, he didn't give her the UPS truck.
He
gave her his
it was
truck.
the UPS truck, though. Like, that's how I imagined it going down.
Oh,
They
went in his UPS truck to pick up his actual truck.
Yeah, because she asked to take his truck.
Yeah, so she took his actual truck, but she did get in the UPS truck to go to the lot and pick up his truck.
Yeah, like I said, like, for whatever reason, my head didn't make the jump that she took his actual truck. She was going to save the kid in the UPS truck. And
no.
But for whatever reason, that kind of made her saving the kid in my head better, because I'm like, so you went in like the most obvious
flying, and she's like
flying around corners in this UPS truck to save this kid.
No,
like that's creepy as hell, and saves this kid in the most obvious truck that you can do, and still sneaks in.
That's amazing. I'm in the chat room, and Amber listened to it in audiobook while at work.
Oh, how did it work with audio?
I bet the audiobook was pretty good, but I think it would be super awkward at work.
Yeah,
I want to know how this was handled at work. Like
headphones.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Could you imagine if it wasn't?
Please tell me you don't work with like children as you're listening to this, because
it's fun. You listen to it, you see kids walk by, you just like,
earmuffs, kids, earmuffs.
I'm going straight to jail just for listening to this near minors. So in the group, Jennifer gave it 4 stars, Megan gave it 5 stars, Amber gave it 4, Kaylee gave it 4.5. The audio was really good, she said.
I kind of want to hear this in audio now, just to see if that, shifts things a bit.
I wonder if you can get the audio for the next book. Are you going to continue with it? I'm continuing with it.
I'm not surprised that you're continuing with it. I'm not. I mean, you finish every single one of the series that we do.
I have to.
It's almost compulsion at this point.
Yeah.
I might. With it being a 3, it's kind of debatable. Like, I went on with Throne of Glass series for a while until it kind of hit the point where I'm like, I'm not liking the writing. I'm not liking the characters anymore. I don't care. And it started hitting 3s and 2s. This is one starting out as a 3, and there's part of me that's like, well, I could continue and I might like it more. Or this might be a sign of just me not liking it in general. And
I don't think, I don't know, somebody correct me. Are the following books companion novels? Like, I don't know if they're actually Deanna, because there's a sample chapter. I don't know where that just came from. That's not okay. Oh no, because
you kind of went a little Bronx on that.
I don't know where that came from. There is an excerpt from the next one, and it's got other characters. I think Deanna's still in it, but I think it centers on a different character. Oh, Megan said they are Deanna.
Yeah, because the name
Amber gave it 5 stars. Amanda gave it 5 stars, rather.
Yeah.
Amber said she works in IT and she listened at double speed with her earphones.
Nice.
Good.
I'm double checking. Yeah, the name of the series is actually Deanna Madden, according to Goodreads. There are 2 other books. This one came out in 2013, and then 2 came out in 2015, and there have not been additions to this series since then. oh my gosh, I'm on the Goodreads for this account, for this series. I just probably found the best quote ever. First quote from the series, from actually the girl in 60 that's on here is, "Pity is a bitch I'd like to avoid." Like, I just scrolled down and that's the first thing I saw.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, so Megan said yes, they follow her. They are sequels, regular sequels. So we're good.
Thriller.
Oh man, so here's another great quote that I just found. "I don't mind being killer crazy, but I don't want to be a loony bin crazy. That would probably be bad for business, a bit of a turnoff."
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
I think that's one of the ones that I highlighted because I was like, she has this like she's very astute, like she's a smart girl, and she has like this weird, she like has like a complete moral compass like within the parameters of her crazy. Like I can't handle it.
And then how sick was the kidnapping from the uncle and the little girl?
I don't think he was her uncle. For whatever reason, I kind of took him and the wife as uncle and aunt rather than blood relatives. Like they were friends of the family that the little kid called her uncle and aunt.
I don't know, because when the cop came to her house, he said your brother. They're talking about your brother, so it was definitely like a blood relative.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know.
He had taken other kids that weren't.
Yeah.
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 I mean, regardless of blood relations or not, I mean, it's still weird as hell that he took a kid that he knew so well. But I say that as one, a child that's never been snatched, and two, as an adult that has no intention of ever snatching children. But you do hear that Julie just gave me this look like I'm crazy, but
I'm like, where is this conversation going? Where are we going?
But I mean, what I'm going for is you do hear that when murders and kidnappings happen, it tends to be people you know.
Yeah.
That's where it was going, not me being crazy. It's
And then the wife knew something because like when the police came to the house, she was like, "I don't know what you did, but you're staying in tonight." And I'm like, and then she knew about his other laptop when they came and confiscated the computer.
Yeah, she knew. I mean, she knew enough. She knew enough to have. She should have been saying something, you know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he was just a sleazy person.
There was a part of me though too that was like, oh man, like Deanna's trying so hard to be like a functioning part of society, like in her own way, and then
like
to have
so
hard, and then to have the little girl's mom like grab her arm and be like, whatever you had to do, I'm about it. I was like, oh no, don't feed into it. Like, don't.
Stop enabling her crazy. Just let her
made
function.
it okay. She made it okay. And now all I can think about is like Deanna being with this UPS dude and having like all kinds of weird knife play involved in their sex life, and I can't handle that. So I don't know where that is going. But Shannon said the second book gets
read books 2 and 3 to see if that happens.
I don't really know how it doesn't.
Random segue, but am I the only one that really loved her little hacker friend?
No, he was good. I did like him.
There was a part of me that as she's talking about him, like, this is gonna be one of those psycho freaks that actually does like enable her to kill people, or is a serial killer himself in addition to being a hacker. But like as I started to get more and more into the story, I'm like, you, sir, are awesome.
I know.
I
love hackers in general.
Entire series on you.
Yeah, I love hackers in general, but I thought that the people that she had chosen to barter services with, between her lawyer, the 2 therapists, the hacker, like all of the people that she had and some of her clients, I was like, oh man, like she has just gathered the crazy around her. But I mean, how to be sequestered like that and to be put herself away for the safety of others, and then still be able to like rally that kind of a team around her. Like, she's a smart chick.
Very.
Amber said she thinks that she would make a good therapist if she could quench her bloodthirst.
Yeah, the not killing patients would be very helpful.
It would be, but I feel like she like her clients and the people that like subscribe to the webcam, like she reads people really well. Like she immediately gets what people need and want and like their motivations.
What they like, what they don't like.
Yeah. Everybody's agreeing they love the hacker guy. I forget his name. He was good.
His name was Mike, I think.
Yeah. I got so nervous. Like it caused me like
Russell.
anxiety towards the end of the like his credit card was swiped. I've got to go. You know I can't keep doing this. Like I can't keep watching out for you. Are you gonna be okay? And I'm like, oh dude, just stay. Like, what could you possibly have to do that's more important than this? Just stay on him for a bit.
Well, see, here's what's bad is I read the book at the beginning of the month. I'm going to be very honest with it. Got through it in a day, in part because it's such an easy read, which is fantastic. But when I read it, it literally came in the day before we did this thing at the library called Read Strong. So it's basically we sit there, we count our numbers of how many pages read per branch to try to hit a goal. So I'm like, well, I have to read this month, and I hate taking books with me when I travel that are library books. I have this weird like delusion that I'm going to lose them and have to pay for them, and I really don't want to. So I'm sitting literally at my job with my branch manager next to me, reading this book.
Reading about her holstering a giant dildo to the wall
Yeah.
with like a camera underneath of her. Like,
and I'm reading this.
No one look at
my
it.
branch manager is reading like a history book because we're both history nerds. And she looks at me and goes, "What are you reading?"
I didn't pick it.
I go, "It's an erotic thriller about this lady who, well, unfortunately there were only adults in the room. I'm like, well, it's an erotic thriller about this lady who thinks she's going to kill people, so she's a shut-in, and she earns money as a sex cam worker." And she goes, "Oh,
of course it is."
I can see how he's doing that.
And I go, "Yeah." I'm like, I think this person would like it. I started recommending it to a couple other people. Like, you like weird romance novels, right? They're like, not that kind of weird, though.
No, yeah.
And I go, okay. I'm like, I at least tried to, like, find you your genre. And I'm like, what are you reading? She goes, a World War II book. And I'm like, have fun.
I think Amanda said she already recommended it to some friends and had her mother read it. Her mother liked it. I recommended it to a friend and he bought it right away. Like I gave him like literally girl wants to murder people, works as a sex cam like girl, and he was like, I just bought it. I was like,
oh, I literally was like erotic thriller, sex cam worker, wants to murder people, shut in.
Yeah.
And I had coworkers I'm telling this to, and they go, that sounds interesting. I'm like, hey, you like erotic romance novels, right? Yeah. I'm like, oh, you might like this one. I'm gonna pass. I'm like, okay. Oh, like I'm just gonna finish this. Like I thought, like in my head, I was selling it well. It might not have come across that way. I mean, but I'm also like trying to like sell this to coworkers as we're working, and they're all like, "What's Laura reading?" I'm like, "Just let me sit in my corner." Like,
yeah,
it's so good. It has outside of the cam girl and all that, it's still a good story. Like
it is.
So I mean.
And I will have you know that it's not actually marketed as an erotic thriller because like per the like library shelving that's on here, like the notes that they have in the book, it's marked as recluses / fiction, serial murders / fiction, and psychological fiction. Nothing about erotica. Just FYI. Because somebody was like, I don't know, I have to be in the mood for erotica. And I was like, it's not actually erotica, though. Like, it's
a... look this up on Goodreads. I'll see how Goodreads sells it.
Yeah, I don't know what Goodreads has it classified as, but, like, the actual library cataloging of it in the book is not marked as any kind of erotica or even, I mean, it's adult, but it's not... I'm assuming it's adult, but it doesn't have anything on here that's...
Oh! So this is cool. Goodreads has significantly more genres on it than the library coding does. Thriller, one of its genres is dark. Yeah, dark. I didn't know that was a genre, but apparently it is.
I didn't either, but it fits.
Yeah, I mean, it does. Totally. Thriller, dark, erotica, adult, mystery, romance, contemporary.
Romance?
I'm guessing UPS guy qualifies as romance.
I don't
like
think so.
5% of the story.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean I agree. That's the one part. The only way I could validate that is UPS guy. Not that I think it's a romance novel,
I'll tell you
but
right now, though, I would willingly murder people to not eat Jenny Craig for like years on end.
I
Like
don't know.
microwavable dinners
Yeah.
for years on end. Like that would make me kill someone. I can't.
I mean, here's the thing. While I agree with the sentiment, if I'm getting a phone call in the middle of the night from your prison cell, I'm gonna be like, my first question is gonna be, how much Jenny Craig did you just eat?
What did she do? Yeah, how long did she stay inside?
Like,
That would drive somebody
tell me
crazy.
how many Jenny Craig packages were there.
How
I
many-
just need to know that so we know how much trouble we're in.
I was so fascinated by the fact that she was so cautious about killing people, but then yet left her door unlocked and was like, if they come in, they're on their own. Like, if they come in, I'm gonna kill them. And was like okay with that.
That's like a Darwin Award type of stuff.
Yeah, but like that distinction there was like, all right, like I will be locked in at night because I know that's when my demons come out. But in the meantime, if you come in during the day, you've entered my domain and I will slay you. And then, so that whole like dynamic fascinated me. And then I loved watching her panic when she realized she was shitty at murder. It was like the funniest thing as she like goes to attack him. And then it was like,
why am I so bad at this? Why can't
I am really bad at this. Maybe I don't actually have murderous tendencies. I am not nearly as badass as I think I am. And I was like, oh my God, look at the internal struggle. Like she pictures herself as like this vicious killer. And then she's like useless against him.
It's basically coming across as, what just happened? Why didn't this work?
I mean, she did have box cutters, but yes, essentially.
She even with Simon, her neighbor, when he was looking for his pills, and he went to go get the key, but she had a knife in her hand, and she was waiting on him to come inside because.
And he never did. He never came back, and she's just like bawling. Yeah.
Never came back, so
she was ready for it.
But passed out.
Didn't she threaten to take away his pills if he came back?
Yeah.
She threatened to take them away if he didn't come back to lock her in.
Yeah.
And then he came back and was like tweaking and really needed them. And she was like, you have a spare key. Go get your spare key. Like, go make this happen. And she was just like waiting.
Wow.
Okay. No, I'm probably going to go down another little crazy psychopathic
Get it?
rabbit hole. Just follow me here, though.
I'm going to try.
There's part of me, though, that's glad it didn't work out with Simon, like in her killing him, because I mean, would we really have wanted to have wasted the scene with the UPS guy and her realizing she's bad at killing people on Simon?
I feel like she would have murdered him without any problems because he's probably so weak from withdrawal at that point. He probably wouldn't even see it coming. She'd just be like, the pills are over here, and he would just walk in and she would just off him.
Yeah.
There's that, and that played on one side for me. The other side was, while he's weak, she could just be so bad that she could have done the exact same thing to Simon and been like, why am I so bad at murder? And then, we wouldn't have had this is a great scene and just so distressing and funny all at the same time. The other thought I had was, the sad thing is, if she killed him, he's a drug dealer, both, and unfortunately, those are the kind of murders that don't get looked into that well for obvious reasons, and that would have just made for us an utterly shitty story.
I'm glad that the first time somebody enters her apartment and the first time we see her non-flashback killing somebody was when the UPS guy came in, because I think that dynamic and that like it was just so much more interesting, that dynamic, especially because you saw him outside of her apartment with his family, like trying to date or whatnot. So like that whole dynamic, like I like that her first attempt during the book to like actually off somebody was him. Because I could picture her like naked and feral and growling and like leaping at him.
And it not going well and ending the way it did.
Yeah.
Like I said,
And he
that
never
was just
says
such a
anything ever,
fantastic
like,
scene.
he never mentions anything after the fact either. Like she slices him like a good couple times with a box cutter, and he
Like no
never
bandage
mentions
or
it again.
anything.
Yeah. He's just like,
made him want him more.
He seemed to. He's like, I'm going to test this theory. I don't think she actually really wants me. I think she just still is playing me and wants to murder me. The fact that all that went through his head while a naked woman is writhing underneath of him was not logical. Like, that I didn't get. Because he's like, let me see what happens if I choke her. And I was like, oh my gosh, like in the book, I was like, fuck. And I was like, didn't she just find the best man ever? I'm like, this dude is psycho. Like, who does
And he's
this?
her kind of psycho too.
Like her perfect kind of psycho. He's like, I'm intrigued. Why do you want to murder people? Like, what up? Can we get to the bottom?
Murder me?
Can we get to the bottom of this? Like, I know you attacked me with like teeth and nails and a box cutter, but I'd also like to just spoon you at night. How do you feel about that? She was fine. Like, I was like, who is this guy?
Like, there was this whole conversation. Like, there were so many guys that I know that one would not have ended a conversation with. I would just like to spoon at night with you. How does that make, like, so many guys, but number two, that, like, I know 0 guys that would have hung around after you tried to cut them.
Yeah.
Like, none. Granted, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You probably shouldn't hang around after somebody tries to cut you for a good reason, but
you shouldn't. He did.
No, you shouldn't.
In the group, I was like, what are our thoughts on her being so bad at her attempts at murder? Shannon's like, I found it hilarious and really felt weird for finding it so funny. And then Amber said it was funny, and then I felt bad for her. What kind of psycho does that make me? I was like, oh, girl just wants to get her kill on. And Megan said, I just loved her so much. The fact that she was bad at being a murderer just made me love her more. Amber said she pictures them in bed choking each other in the middle of sex. Sure.
So is that their kind of spooning?
That's his name, Jeremy. She was like, Jeremy's almost more disturbed than Deanna is. And honestly, like, her backstory doesn't validate her crazy, but like it makes sense of her crazy. And the weird thing is that during reading this, like I understood her crazy, and I respected her like moral compass and divide on like, I want to murder people, but I'm gonna lock myself away. I'm gonna try not to, but like if push comes to shove, I'm gonna kill people. And then also like patient confidentiality and, you know, or like customer confidentiality, and like the way that she drew lines, and like the way that in the bathroom on the way to go save the little girl, she like didn't kill that dude because she was like, I got somewhere to be. So I'm like, you're lucky I have somewhere to be. And so like I respected her crazy. Jeremy's brand of crazy is like a whole other thing. I'm like, son, I have no idea where this is coming from with you. Like, what happened to you as a kid? This is not right.
And I would like to point out that is kind of a cool distinction between validating her crazy and making sense of the crazy.
Yeah. Full-time Reads was like, I think it made it kind of better that she was bad at it, because it wouldn't have been as good of a moment if she hadn't been. You did, like, I was like, well, I feel for her because she's bad at this. Like, it was a weird conflict of emotions as a reader.
So weird, but I mean, at the same time, it was kind of like a cool kind of conflict of emotions, because it's not one that you necessarily walk into a book wanting to do, because you sit there and you're like, yay, you didn't kill anybody. Oh, but you didn't kill him. But yay, you didn't kill him.
I was like, oh, she just wants to kill people. And then she got like down on herself, and she's like, what if I can't kill this guy? What if I really suck at murder?
But that was the whole point of going after.
And then you're there like, then I'm there like, sweetie, it's okay to suck at murder because it's murder, and
nobody.
I mean, it's something you actually really do want to suck at.
I wanted that guy dead so bad.
Yeah.
I wanted him dead so bad. I did get nervous though. I was like, she's gonna leave this girl alone on the porch with a phone. and she's going to call the cops and Deanna's going to get picked up. Like, it's not going to work out. Like, I got too nervous. And like, you can't trust a traumatized little child with a cell phone and 911. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, there are days where I'm like, I wonder if we can trust a normal 9-year-old with a cell phone and 911.
No one. Yeah, no. Like, she's just been like tied up and locked in a dark room and like promised a kitty
For
she
like
didn't get.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very traumatic.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of things, though, did she kill the kidnapper? Like, because I don't know in the news if they ever report if he was dead or not. I think
I thought
he
she
was
did.
dead. I think he was dead, right?
Yeah, because I think she shot him. I think she shot him, but I know she cut his throat.
She cut him. Yeah,
Okay.
she shot him and cut him, right? But she
Sorry,
didn't
I just,
stay
like,
to
I
make
knew she
sure he
did
was
that
dead.
stuff. I knew she did that stuff, but I also remembered her being bad at murder.
Yeah.
So
Because he did knock her out, I believe. I know he punched her.
He did earlier in like the fight, so like, you know, but she didn't stay. She had to get back to the girl so that she didn't call 911. So she didn't stay to like confirm he was dead. But
Yeah, because she said she should have stabbed him more just to make sure.
yeah,
So he may be alive.
yeah, but that was another thing. I'm like, she actually left to make sure that she could get to the little girl. Like, she was worried about the little girl more than this guy. So like, there's still something in her. But yeah, let me know in the group, guys. Did she, like, do we think, I don't know if they ever confirmed that he was dead, but I'm pretty sure the assumption was that dude's gone. Amber said, it's like being convinced that you're meant to be an artist and you dream about it, you know it's your destiny, and then you find out you really just suck and you're not going to make it. And they're like, yep, that's a pretty decent comparison. But like,
best comparison ever.
or being like, you know, Ricardo. You've got like Rico Suave. You've got like one hit and you're like, I'm amazing. Never again.
Never again. And thank you for that now, because I have Rico Suave running through my head.
Yeah, I was trying to think of other one-hit wonders, and he was the first one that came to my mind.
Well, I probably would have gone with Edwin McCain and I'll Be.
Yeah.
Which is solid. And the cool thing about Edwin McCain is I heard that he still goes around on like the indie rock circuit and like just doesn't do mainstream stuff by choice.
I'm pretty sure Rico Suave is now like I think he's now like some kind of like a minister. I think he speaks for the Lord now. I'm not sure how that works.
What?
I think so.
I don't think that's
Vanilla
how it
Ice
works.
had more than one hit. Amber assumes he died. Shannon said she left him and was thinking, and she left him there, and Shannon was thinking, see, you're not totally horrible at it. I'm pretty sure the dude's dead. Now Kaylee,
it only took like
Kaylee is
3
singing
tries for
Edward
her to like
McCain.
figure it out.
Yeah. They're assuming that he's dead because the family was being questioned. You're right, Audrey. And that's what I assumed too, because they hid her identity from them. And then even the little girl like hid her identity. She's like, I read the second book, I can't remember, but I think they do mention that he was dead, so.
Okay. Well,
Kidnapper dead, murder number 2. How do we feel? Because the one thing that we haven't touched on is the entire like family massacre, crazy mama drama. Because that was a whole lot to take in. I'm kind of glad that she piecemealed that through flashbacks. Because that, like, in the beginning, I'm like, oh, wait, like, she's, like, the reveal that she had actually killed somebody before, and then you're, like, waiting, I'm like, who'd she kill? Who'd she kill? And then I started to think that she had just killed everybody in the house. Like, I thought that the whole family murder was her, and that somehow she got away with it.
God,
I didn't,
that was it, because, I mean, that would have been a fantastic lead-in story.
I thought that's what it was. And then the crazier that, like, mom seemed to be, and then the mention prior that she had like, hesitation stabs, like, that she hadn't been sure of herself in trying to commit suicide. I'm like, that wasn't her. She didn't do it. I was like, that was Deanna. So, like, I kind of caught on a little bit early, like, before the actual reveal. But just that level of crazy, too, for her mother, and the disconnect in her mom's brain between the rest of the family being totally okay to be dead and then like her packing and sending Deanna on her way so that she wasn't there for it, and then being like, you weren't invited to this party. She like rides Dad's lap and stabs him. Like, I can't even.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
It was levels of insane, but I can understand why Deanna's so afraid of herself and why she's so convinced that this is like her legacy.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Especially when you end up discussing how a lot of times psychological issues, addictions, all of that tends to be genetic. So, I mean, I can understand her fear and why she would be like, oh my God, you know, my mom was crazy, just batshit crazy. My mom killed our entire family.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like a matter of
that's what you mean.
This is like a matter of time before she explodes.
Yeah. But there was even like a weird sanity to her mom. Like, she had clearly lost it during the murder, but the fact that she thought ahead to like pack up the oldest, get her out, like for whatever reason saved her and was like, no, you got to go. And it also explained her deafness in the one ear because she got like clocked across the head with the serving tray or whatever. Her mom like wailed on her. So yeah, like everything kind of started wrapping up, but that was like one of the most terrifying scenes to me of like the whole thing, aside from just being terrified for little children and pedophiles being horrible, because to like walk in, just see your siblings dead, and then to have your mom turn around with that kind of like psycho blankness in her eyes and just be like, sweetie, you're not invited to this party. I would have been like, I need a new pair of shorts.
Yeah.
That's the point where you're like, okay. And you just turn around, leave, and hopefully call the correct people.
Yeah. Amber's like, okay, but like, let's be honest. Murder number one, self-defense. I agree. I don't think at that point her mom wasn't letting her go at that point. I think by that point her mom's like, you saw what happened here. Like, you're not walking out. So
yeah.
I gotta take you out. Sorry.
Mama's got to go. Yeah. Yeah.
Oops.
So you definitely don't get any kind of like, and even Deanna doesn't identify as having any kind of like crazy thoughts prior to that night, you know?
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of it is her seeing her mom and her assuming that that's what she was meant for, or that her mom spared her because she saw herself in her, and then being put in a position where she had to kill her mother to save herself, and how much that psychologically messed with her before, you know? Like, I wonder if things would have played out for her the same if things didn't go down like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, totally. But, I mean, I also wonder how much of it is age. Because, I mean, when you're 9, 10 years old, you aren't sitting there psychoanalyzing yourself and going...
Well, I think she was a teenager by then, wasn't she?
Yeah, because I think, didn't they send her off to her grandparents?
Yeah, I think she was like 16 or 17.
Yeah, she was, because she was about to graduate high school. Sorry, for whatever reason.
Yeah, her younger siblings were a lot younger than her, so I think they were closer to like that 9-10 range. But she was older.
So she actually would have been about the age where you start psychoanalyzing and thinking your way through it. So yeah, it's probably more tied to crazy mom causing the entire family to lose their shit than anything else.
Yeah. Amber said she doesn't think she would be able to go back into that house. I don't think she did. Didn't she? Like, she left there and just stayed with her grandparents. Like, I don't think she ever had to go back there.
They sold it. In fact, she didn't take... I don't think she took anything from the house.
No. She said, like, as soon as she saw what her mom was doing, like, if she walked in and saw her siblings, she wouldn't have kept walking through the house to get to her mom. I wouldn't have. Like, as soon as I looked through the door and saw, like, what was going on in there, I'd be like, peace out, Cub Scout. Like, I'll call someone.
there's a part of me that agrees with that, but there's part of me that's like, if I walked into a situation where I saw my brother and my sister gone, I I would want, as hard as it would be, I would want to take out the person that did that.
Sure, but would you walk through the house not knowing who it was that had done it to like find
Yeah,
out if the killer's still in there?
that's the follow-up question. That's, God knows. I mean, like I said, I I have no idea how I honestly, and this is as a 30-year-old, not a 16-year-old. As a 30-year-old, I have no idea that what I would do if I came home and saw my 26-year-old brother and 23-year-old sister on the floor.
I mean, if I thought there was even like a chance that they were still alive, I would run in and check and see if I could do anything. I think it was pretty clear from the way the scene was described that they were gone. So like at that point, like, no, I'm going to run and call somebody. Like, this is not my area of expertise. I'm out. Personally, I love my siblings, but
yeah,
you're gone.
If you see where they're already, gone, there's no need to go in, really.
No, I don't know. I don't think I could handle it. I'm trying to think. What else did you find out? Did you find out anything else besides like how many books that she had published, Lauren?
I did not. I did very minor research beforehand, and I got through everything just kind of quickly. Like I said, with the travel stuff, I was like, this needs to happen now. And then it was perfect timing with the Read Strong stuff. And, as I'm reading it, having my boss right here going, hey, what are you reading? It was just like the weirdest combination of things happening for me to get like this book and actually get it read in the time frame that I did. And I was like, okay, so now I cannot research the same because I've already weirded out half the people I work with. Because, yeah.
I finished it today, as always. I'm always the last one to finish a book. And I was telling Julie, like, I had my tablet on my desk and my phone next to my tablet, so it looked like I was working. It looked like I was working, but I had my phone next to my tablet, too. Because I know I had to finish it. I'm just, oh my God, I need to get
There
better.
was, like, no attempt for me to even, like I said, I was out Read Strong, we were counting pages, and they're like, hey, why don't you read? Okay.
All right. Yeah. No, I was
because we were
reading really quick
and stuff. So I had a webinar this morning, and I was discarding books as well. So I was trying to find, like, look, I need to find this little time so I can read this certain amount of pages, go back to work, do this, because I have to have this book read before I leave today.
Yeah. And thank God Ericka texted me and she was like, I just finished the book. Not really sure when I want to read it. And I was like, oh, it's like a random thing to talk about. And then I'm like, oh my God, the show's tonight. I forgot.
Oh, I was like so very aware that the stuff was tonight because I was flying back to Ohio, but with Hurricane Harvey happening, I was like, please don't hit Dallas. For like 3 days straight, I'm calling like American Airlines, and I kept getting the section of them based out of Dallas. I'm like, please tell me I can still go through Dallas. Please tell me I'm gonna get home on time. And so I'm like, I need to. And then my mom's texting me going, hey, do you want to go to dinner? I want to do an early dinner. We can do the early bird special. And I'm like, how early are we talking about with her? Because, I mean, granted, I also ate breakfast at like 3 a.m. this morning to make sure like I could get home. So she's like, I'm like, how early are we talking? Because I'm hungry like now. And she goes, oh, we can go at like 4. And I go, good. I'm like, I am willing. I want to see you. I'm willing to hang out. I'm even willing to go to dinner. But I need to be home by 7.
I got plans. Full-time reading said, or Hammer said, this is why horror movies make no sense to me. I'd never investigate. Full-time read says there's no way I could stay. I'd be worried the person was still in there, would be coming for me next. If it was clear they were gone, I'd be calling 911. Amber wishes her job would tell her to read, but she listens to audiobooks anyway while she works. And Shannon said all of her other books are published under Alessandra Torre. So instead of A.R. Torre, it's Alessandra Torre, which they do say like on the opening, like little author flappy thingy, like her other pen name. That this is her pseudonym, like not her name she publishes under.
I would also like to point out that my job doesn't normally say, hey, sit here and read. We just happen to have the one day a year where all the branches compete to see who gets the most pages while also trying to hit the page number that we are trying to get for the system as a whole. And
Are you telling me librarians don't read all day? Because then I'm not applying anymore.
whatever you need to tell yourself to get through the day,
Yes.
Julie.
No, there's no going back now. I applied to 2 different librarian jobs today. So we may
Way to go.
actually all be librarians at some point.
Woo!
Yay!
Yay! Amber said she's in Dallas. So if you fly back through Dallas, you holler at Amber.
What's up, Amber? My family.
Although if you meet Amber before I do, I'm going to be real pissed about it.
Are you saying before I meet you or before you meet Amber?
Before I meet Amber, I've known Amber for like over 10 years at this point. So if you meet her before me, I'm going to be real mad about it.
Well, I shouldn't tell you about my weekend plans then.
Fine. I guess just tell Amber, send selfies.
We'll get a cardboard cutout of you and like put it there so you're in everything with us.
There you go.
I'm not even kidding you. If anybody feels like it would be way too creepy to get a cardboard cutout of me and just carry it around and take pictures, you're wrong. It's amazing, and I encourage it.
And now my weekend plan.
And now I know what I'm doing. Jennifer lives right close to Amber too. You guys all stink. What was I going to say? I annotated this book while I was reading it, so I'm trying to like figure things out. One of the things that I thought was so interesting about this, and it actually came up in a conversation because one of our like neighborhood parents from when we were kids was arrested on like thousands of counts of like child pornography, which is always like terrifying, you know, like, oh great, I played at his house as a child.
And you're like, where were these cameras? I kind of need to know. It's very important.
Yeah. He was like selling pictures of his kids and stuff to like child porn sites. Like I can't even imagine it. It's terrifying. It's
that
horrible.
Is awful.
It's not okay. But we were having a conversation. I was having a conversation with a couple of my friends who do work in the psychology field, and they're like, it is so difficult to get anybody treatment because if the psychology behind the guy who was obsessed, like the pedophile in the book who was obsessed with his niece, and even Deanna, to get them therapy, to be like, I have not murdered somebody yet, I want to. I have not touched a child yet, I want to. It is very difficult to get them therapy or to get them help because then the therapist is almost culpable if they go ahead and perpetrate. So it's like this whole thing in the field of psychology of like you know, almost like insurance companies, they don't want to pay for like genetic testing for cancers, but they'll treat your cancer after the fact, you know, like it's almost like you have to have the issue before they'll treat you or help you. So I found it so interesting that we had 2 characters in this book that, granted, by the time the book has happened, have already perpetrated their particular like crimes before, but they're aware. Like he's trying to substitute his niece by using Jenny or Jessica, you know,
anybody.
Using the cam girl and trying not to go to his niece and like rationalizing in his head, like, I know it's too dangerous to go for somebody this close to home. I shouldn't do it. And her trying to rationalize and keep herself from going and perpetrating and killing. And I think that that's one of the most like interesting from like an abnormal psych perspective. Like it's an interesting view for a writer to take on crimes like that. You know, it's not an after fact. It's like a very aware, I don't want to do this. I don't know how to stop myself. I'm trying to stop myself. It's not working. I'm going to be forced to do whatever it is that's like motivating me. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm psychologying like going crazy, but like I found that so fascinating.
It makes you think about it more. And it makes a bit more sense too. And then as a reader, you look at it in that light as well.
Yeah, it's still horrifying. It's still awful, but I find something so interesting about the inner workings of like a sick mind where like they're trying, like you know, they hold out as long as they can before it actually happens. Like they don't actually want to do it. And you wonder where the help is for them to like, you know.
Yeah, and the way the author put herself in each character in their mind frame, how she was Jessica or Deanna, and then how she put herself in the uncle, and then everybody else around that little bubble. That's that takes a lot, researching, and you
Yeah.
have to, because not only is she researching like the chem aspect of it, she's researching these type of disorders as well. And
Hmm.
so I can imagine how mentally draining that probably could have been for her as well, for her to go through to research that and then place it on paper as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Topics like that, especially with, anybody that assaults like children, that's a difficult thing to write. It's a difficult thing to read. So it's a very difficult thing, I'm sure, to write as well. And to go into that many different kinds of like psychosis it had to be like taxing. I don't know. I respected it. I think that like there were so many different like components to the story writing that made it like 5 stars for me, because I saw the kind of work and dedication and like how hard parts of this had to be to write, that I was like, all right, the depth is there. It's not thriller for thriller's sake. It's not erotica for erotica's sake. It's like the backstory of this family and the mental illness in the family. It's I don't know. I thought it was all nuanced enough that it worked.
Oh yeah, and I mean for me that's why I rated it A3. I mean I realize that probably sounds awful, but it's like I went in knowing she wrote basically a shit ton in a very short period. So I wasn't expecting high,
Yeah.
and I still had moments where I was taken out of it just because of just weird stuff that happened in the book or weird situations. But I mean, it was well written enough and well nuanced enough that you didn't notice that it was part of like 15 books that she wrote in however long.
Yeah, because I think this is only 3 right now, and then the other 12 are probably just erotica. So,
And now that I can see this in like a new light, I think I may just change my rating to 4 stars. Yeah.
I mean, if I could convince anybody that the like psychology and the writing skill of this is like worth it, like I've been recommending it to people, and I'm like, I know it's like risque, but it's not. I don't know. That didn't put me off. Like that's not something that bothers me anyway. But I
It's
thought
not
that
risque just to be sexy and nudist and just to have sexy time. It's risque because it's
no.
part of the story and
And
it
even
works.
throughout the risque parts where she was working with different clients, it was still like a look at the psychology of fetishes and at the way that like people work through different, you know, the fact that somebody wanted to be like cuckold for money, or the foot fetish, or the different things that people wanted. Like it was still a study in psychology, like each one of those clients, which like is a braingasm for me, and I'm about it. Kimberly asked if anybody else got hints at the end that Deanna might be schizophrenic. She talked about pushing voices out of her head. She like had a voice and she was like, yeah, I heard it in my head too, like, because it was like in italics or whatever in the text. So she was hearing stuff at one point. Amber said that's very possible. She definitely did, Kimberly. You're right.
I don't know if I read that as schizophrenic or if I read that as part of her compulsion to kill.
It could have been. Because she does talk about it like encouraging her to run or go or, to move. So, but either way, she's hearing something in her head that's telling her to do stuff, and however that plays out, in further books. Shannon said, also as a writer, you've got to be so careful, because if anybody thinks that your representation is inaccurate, it ends up all over, you get ripped apart. And she's right. She covered a lot of different topics. And if any one of those had been an inaccurate portrayal or hadn't been researched correctly, she'd have heard about it,
Yeah, and this is one of those things where she kind of had to do a lot of different topics in order to make this character work.
Yeah. And a decent amount of research, unless she's sick enough to know all of this firsthand. In which case, I is scared.
Just a little bit.
Jennifer said it was much less erotic and much less a thriller than I expected. It wasn't scary. I was worried about the scary factor. It was suspenseful, but I wasn't like terrified at any point.
Yeah, it was more of like the Hitchcock version of all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a baby, so I got nervous about this one, and I was like, oh, the erotica will help get me through. And then pretty early on, I realized it's not really like erotica as much as it is like a study on sexuality. I'm not sure if this is going to like offset the scary, but then the scary, it wasn't that bad.
It was like a study on sexuality and the sex trade and psychosis and being a shut-in, and yeah.
It had the whole thing in one.
Yeah. And Jennifer liked the cam girl aspects of the storyline. I agree. I thought that they were really well researched in terms of like the technology that went into it, the different like shots and angles, and she was like a therapist at points, you know, like she had to like identify different people's problems and address them, and you know, I was intrigued by all of it. I think I've made that very clear. I enjoyed it. I'm happy we went with that pick, and I'm happy that we've continued to push the envelope, because in the group I'm seeing people say over and over again, like, this is not a book I would have picked up. I don't think I would have read this if it hadn't been for the group. So I'm glad that we're switching things up and throwing some different books at people.
Yeah, because some of the books that we pick, some of them are out of our comfort zone as well. So
yeah,
that's the beauty of all of this. We get to push ourselves and pick up something that we know we probably not would have picked up before.
Yeah. I think the goal, at least for me, is to continue to pick books that push us and push the readers within our group, but that still interest the majority of people, you know, like, so that we get books that are still appealing enough to that people are interested in picking it up and joining us for the month, but not like the typical. I still want to push some boundaries, make people uncomfortable. Hello, my reading is odd. Natasha's here. She tried to find this book, but she couldn't find it in time. Oh,
that's depressing.
To read it. She's like, I want to read it, but I know mostly everything. Yeah, we're going to spoil you. I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
All the spoilers. But I hope you do still read it, because it is amazing.
I did hear that there have been studies that show I don't want to say it's 9 out of 10, but the vast majority of people, when they get spoilers, find the reading more enjoyable or the movie watching, because they want to see how you get from point A to point C.
A.
Or point B, or whatever the point is between.
Whatever. I thought you were going to give me some like Dentine commercial. 9 out of 10 dentists prefer Dentine. I'm like, what kind of stats are we throwing out?
Just cleaned a dirty mouth. No big deal.
Kimberly said the cover always makes her think of zombies, but there's no zombies to be found. There's not.
Oh my god, it does look like a zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. Audrey wasn't scared, but the parts about being in the head of the molester was disturbing. Very disturbing, but they were well done. You're right.
I don't know. For some reason, while I was reading this, I was thinking about Gone Girl. I don't know why.
Really?
But I was thinking about Gone Girl.
I thought this was so much better done than Gone Girl, though.
It was. I didn't really like Gone Girl, but I did not. Just like the tone of the book, like the dark mysteriousness of it. That's what was just going through my mind when I read it.
Yeah, I mean, it had the darker aspects, but I mean, and crazy, but
this was a likable crazy.
Yeah. It was the best kind of crazy. I love her crazy. I don't want to be near her, but I love her crazy.
I feel like I want to video chat with her, not during working hours, but but you know, like pen palette, or you know,
put your clothes on and let's talk.
She would know more.
I'm not talking to Jessica right now. I'm talking to you, the person.
She would be a great member of the book club.
When y'all get done talking, because she had IP addresses, she had address, she had everything. She knew about them before the session was over with.
Yeah, little old lady sending her crocheted, like embroidered dish towels. Like, what?
That was like the sweetest thing ever.
Was it though?
I mean, it was one of those things where I'm reading this, I'm like, I just want her to be my grandma.
Grandma watched her ride a giant dildo, so...
Okay, maybe not that aspect of grandma, but...
Grandma?
Just my crochet towels and just like how are you, sweetie? Like the carried and stuff. Like as much as I love my grandma, she would do stuff like, oh yeah, bring the dog over, then call my mom and go, I hate the dog.
The dog's awful.
And then, why are you telling me to bring him? And Mom was like, she doesn't think you will come if you don't bring him. Like, tell me not to bring the dog. I'll leave the dog at home. It's fine.
Natasha still loves reading books even if she's spoiled. Shannon said she's pretty much going to read any book that we decide on, which is good.
So I'm like, I'm the opposite. Like with books, I don't want to be spoiled. TV shows, I don't mind being spoiled.
I don't want to be spoiled for books. I get real pissy. Although, what was it? All the ugly, beautiful things or something. There's a book out right now, and it's about a very young girl. I think she's like 8 at the start of the relationship, and the guy's like 28 or something. Like there's like a giant discrepancy, but it's like not Lolita-esque. There's like, I don't think it starts off romantic or anything, but my friend read it and she was like, it's so twisted. And then she was like, it's really sick. Like, you'll never read this. And she proceeded to tell me everything that happened in the book. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to read it so bad.
I'm one of those people where I don't mind spoilers. Like, I even, like, when I pick up a book, if I'm enjoying, especially when I'm enjoying it, I flip to the end to see what happens. So I can see if I can figure it out, like, what's going on between where I'm at. Like, I don't
That's blasphemy.
That is awful.
I tend to get pissier though when it's movies, because I'm like, I'm gonna go spend like 2 hours. I'll figure it out in like 2 hours, and I'm doing. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm like I'm usually the one guy in the group.
If I'm watching a movie, I get home one night because I Wikipedia movies all the time, and especially if I watch like a thriller. If it's a character that I'm going to attach to and I don't want them to die, I'll go ahead and look up the movie and see if the character dies. I don't mind it.
Yeah, shows I don't mind spoiling. Books I don't mind spoiling. Movies, I'm like, if you tell me, I will cut you.
I've just started watching Game of Thrones, and I logged in on my Facebook yesterday, and I was spoiled by the very first post that I saw. And I was like, I don't know if I should even keep on with the series because I'm just getting spoiled left and right. So.
Oh, I mean, the series is worth it. I've only watched through season 3. I have about 3 or 4 seasons I need to get caught up on. It's a solid show. Like, the books are solid too, but the books are epic. Like, big old whoppers.
Big old whoppers. We're now having a discussion on the girl on the train and into the water. Some people are like, I don't want to be spoiled for books. I'll only be spoiled if they tried to read it and then they couldn't. So they're like, just tell me what happens. Now, what was the book? I read book 1 and I was like, I'm never gonna. Oh, the Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. I was like, I hated book 1, and I will never ever ever finish the rest of that series. So if anybody feels like spoiling that for me, just message me, because I'll just let me know what happens in the end, because I will never read them. Lots of people had to make cheat sheets to keep characters straight for Into the Water by Paul Hawkins. That's craziness.
I actually made a cheat sheet
or Game
recently
of Thrones. Somebody's talking about Game of Thrones.
I actually made a cheat sheet recently for Fried Green Tomatoes because we were reading that for the book club I run. And I forgot how many characters were in that book. And the bad thing is, like, they would name a character and they were like, they'd flip to another character, like they had a set of twins. And I'm like, which twin are you talking? I realize you're talking about Artist versus Jasper, but which twin is Jasper and which one is this one? Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, Game of Thrones. They were talking about the Sunday Twitter, because I always am very aware that I'm on East Coast time when I'm watching things, and I don't want to spoil for West Coast peeps. So I usually keep my Twitter clean. People made a cheat sheet for Into the Water to keep characters straight. I could not care to do. I don't care. I had a whole notebook of notes for like War and Peace, and then I was like, I'm never gonna finish this book. I have it on my shelf just to look like I read War and Peace, and I will never read it.
That's actually on my bucket list.
Everybody's like
Anna Karenina, and they're just some like epic books. I'm like, someday, like, I'm gonna be retired, and I'm gonna have time, and I'm gonna give a shit, and I'm gonna read books.
I'm not gonna.
I did that at first, and I was like, I'm gonna totally read them. And I bought Anna Karenina and War and Peace and the Homer and the Iliad and the Odyssey. And I was like,
I read the Homer and the Iliad, and I loved it. Not Homer. Homer wrote it. The Iliad and the Odyssey.
The Iliad and the Odyssey, yeah. But I bought all of Homer's works, and I was like, I don't know who I'm kidding. They're in storage still. I've moved them multiple times, and I'm about to get them out of storage. I'm starting to get stuff out of storage, and I'm going to just sell them to the bookstore. I was like, I need to be honest with myself. I'm never going to read them.
Or if you donate them to a library, it will help out the library, and it gives you a tax write-off.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, you can do a tax. You put it on there too. But yeah, the Iliad
Fun
and
facts on your
my favorite.
Tuesday.
I was like, I usually just sell them back to half price books and get money for more books.
That comes in handy.
Too. That works.
But if they can't take them at half price books, I take them to the library. Oh, ladies. Well, then let's go over the book for next month, which I already have because I had to get it from my library, and it came in super quick.
I haven't gotten mine yet, but I'm
chat room. Guys, if you have any other chats or any other thoughts about The Girl in 6E in the chat room, throw them in there now if there's anything that we didn't cover. But next month's book is a Lauren pick, and it is, you can't read it, can you? It's The Glare. Any better? Nope. The Bridesmaid?
We are reading The Bridesmaid by Haley Abbott, in case The Glare decides to act up again.
Can you see it?
Okay, we see it. Well, we did.
Okay. Sorry. It says, someone's going to the chapel, but will she get married? Apparently this girl, Abby, her family has a business in wedding planning. She wants no parts of it. She just wants to play soccer and antagonize Noah, the cute son of a famous pastry chef.
I'm down for pastry chefs.
Then Abby's barely legal sister Carol does the unthinkable and announces that she's getting married and wants Abby to be her maid of honor. Ho, ho, ho.
Sounds light and fluffy.
Sounds light and fluffy after, like, murdering and pedophilia. We're going to go back to this, and then maybe we'll visit something spooky for October. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see what everybody's saying in the chat room.
I also believe The Bridesmaid is a one and done. I don't think it's part of a series, so that might also
Thank God.
be handy.
Because I will just continue to read these.
Yeah, a lot of times when I recommend books, especially considering how many series we've started this year, I'm like, I can't do more series. I can't put Julie through that.
I really can't handle it.
And I know we're going to get asked in the group if we've read the rest of them.
Well, I'm currently reading A Closed and Common Orbit, which is the follow-up, the companion to Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I'm early in it, but you guys know I can't leave those series, so it's like, it seriously inhibits my TBRs. Kimberly says that she thinks that Deanna's has murderous thoughts, but she will only kill bad people. I think
she's totally Dexter.
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily true, because I think if Simon had come in, she'd have killed him, and I don't think it had anything to do with him being, like, cracked out. Like, I think she would
prefer her nerves.
Yeah, I think she'd prefer to only kill bad people, but I think there's times during her, like, bad dark place that she's not going to care. Liza gave her library the Throne of Glass books and got a tax write-off.
Kyle's book is coming out next month on the 5th.
What is?
Kyle's book from the Throne.
Oh, The Dark Tower, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I will not be reading that.
I haven't decided yet.
I think Sarah J. Maas has said that you have to read that to, like, catch up before the rest of the series continues, but I'm just going to let people, like, spoil it. I'm just going to read it or, like, watch somebody's chatty video because I just don't care about him at all.
Him doing everything, because he wasn't in Empire of Storms, was he?
He wasn't. No, he split off.
Maybe this is everything while this was going on.
It is. It's the same time frame, but following him, whatever he was doing, and I just don't care.
Yeah, and that's when I hit with the rest of the books where I'm like, I don't care anymore.
I don't care. I don't care even a little bit. Kaylee's going to check her overdrive to see if September's book is on there. My reading is Natasha said she's going to try to find this, but her wedding's October 13th. So, girl, don't stress out. But this could be a cute little book before your wedding. So, Amber's library doesn't own this one. Yeah, this was the only copy in my entire county, so I grabbed it. Kimberly's going to read book 2 of the Deanna series. I will eventually be reading book 2 and 3 because I will definitely be continuing. Amber, as soon as I'm done a Close and Common Orbit, I will message you on Twitter because I do want to talk about it. Kaylee's like, we couldn't get more opposite for next month. It's like, yeah, no. Natasha, she is all kinds of stabby, but like in a great way. And what else? Everybody else is good. Full-time Reads just requested this from her library. So if you guys are interested, this will be the breed for September. I'll have it posted in the Buddy Read group again, too, at some point. I know it's already, we've already put the information on the Buddy Read group, but I'll put it back up again at some point.
And of
just
course,
to remind everybody.
Once we get day and time, we will let you guys know, per usual.
Yep. As soon as we know the date and time, we'll keep you guys posted, but it should be a much easier read.
Yep.
Yay. Thank you for chatting with us about this book, guys. I'm excited, actually, by how many people picked it up and didn't shy away from it. I'm glad people read it and overall enjoyed it because...
And I'm glad people came in even though they didn't read it. I mean...
I know. Thank you. I love it. I will be continuing with the series for sure because I feel like this is going to be like a new fave series for me.
Oh, this thing's got your name all over it, Julie.
It does.
Oh. You could tell it was my pick. And I even said, like, in my TBR for the month of August, and I was like, this is what I will be reading this in August. I'm trying to convince the girls to make it the Job of the Librarians book of the month. If it isn't, it'll be something else. But, like, I'm really pulling for it, so we'll see. And I filmed that so much earlier than we even had our conversation. And I was like, oh, I'm going for it.
Well, and, like, you and I think, talked about it. And you're like, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm like, do it. I mean, I know I wouldn't read it if somebody did like say, hey, we're reading this for book club.
I didn't mind so much as a well, now we know it's not an erotica, but I mean, come on, like 50 Shades is one of my favorite series, so that wouldn't have been a problem.
No, I think I was more nervous to see how many people from the Buddy Read were going to be okay with like branching out this direction. Like, I know we've kind of pushed them in the past and they've all been glad that we pushed them in the past, but I didn't know how many people were going to be like completely on board. And I know a lot more people that are actually like in the chat room have read this because they've commented on the Buddy Read group that they read it and really enjoyed it. So I'm glad we continue to kind of like push people to read
this thing was like
books.
A hit.
I'm a fan.
That's good.
It definitely was better than A List of Cages, so you know.
A whole lot.
I mean, come on. that was not. Oh my god.
We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna go in there backwards.
All we know is that comparatively, we moved up.
I mean, that wasn't hard.
No, it really wasn't.
I mean, we were like this close to basically reading the phone book and having that be more entertaining than List of Cages.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Maybe for October, we'll let you guys vote. So start brainstorming some books that you guys. We haven't done a vote from you guys in a little while, so
yeah.
Let us know if you have any.
Time.
Yeah, we've got time, so it'll be a little while, but maybe we'll start to compile some thoughts from you guys in the Buddy Read group. We can start a thread for potential October books.
Yep. It's funny because every time this has not been the best reading year for me. I've been in slump after slump. It'll go away and then come right back. But after we get done with this show, it kind of like just motivates me to read. But it lasts like maybe 3 or 4 days, and then I'm back in the slump.
And then you're back on my Instagram going, I just can't read. I'm like, girl.
And then, I'm getting messages from her going, I finished the book today. I couldn't come to the show with not finishing it.
I was like, well, yeah, finish it. What are you talking about? Like, way to make it wait. Like, I tried with this one to wait until later in the month because I knew the show was going to be really late in the month. And I wanted to have it fresh. But I think I've read like 10 books since I finished that.
I be trying. I tried.
Yeah, I know.
I switched my Goodreads. It was 100. Now it's moved down to 50. Now I'm at 30. And I'm 26. I've read 26 books already. So I can make the 30 go.
You can. All right, Kaylee, go take care of your dog. Natasha says, check out Meddling Kids by Edgar Quintero. Super rad cover, so I am judging.
Well, I mean,
Final Girls.
everything.
I've heard a lot of people talking about Final Girls, and I know it's supposed to be like deeply scary for October.
What's the name of it?
It could be fitting for October. Final Girls. Amber's 9 away from hitting her goal of 100. I just hit 155, and I don't know how that's possible, but that happened.
I'm over 200, but that's also because I've been reading picture books. I mean, among other things, I read adult books too, and YA, and I read a mix, but to get an accurate count whenever I read a picture book, I add that to my count.
Amber's got Final Girls, but she hasn't read it yet. What's the synopsis on that? I don't know anything about it, really. But I know Allie and I think Chelsea read it, and they're like, this is troubling. But they said it was really cool. Kimberly just met her goal of 75. Congrats, girl.
Well, sorry to cut and run, but I am going to head out, and I am going to hang out with my dad. So I will talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Yep, glad you traveled safe. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us in the chat room. We will keep you posted on the book for October. We'll continue to talk about it. But thank you so much. Natasha's at 52. Go, girl. All right, everybody.
Good night.
Have a great night. Good night.